to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Zyler Hymanson.
And we are here with a brand new franchise. We're kicking it off.
New franchise week.
No more open waters.
Water's closed.
Yeah.
The water's closed.
Closed water.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The park is closed. The sharks are...
napping.
Yeah, they're full.
Yeah.
After that last one. So we're kicking things off with the Darkman franchise today.
Very excited.
In honor of Darkman, we've turned off the lights in the podcast recording studio.
The cells are photosensitive.
And we're doing it in the dark.
Sensitive.
All right, let's play that trailer. Steve, hit the trailer.
Who
No foolish heroics, if you please.
is Darkman? They destroyed everything he had, all that he loved, everything that he was. Now, crime has a new enemy, and justice has a brand new face.
I was afraid that you wouldn't want me anymore.
Of course I still want you.
The good news is that I know who's behind our little troubles of late. Finish it.
He has the power.
All right,
to
that was
look
the
like
trailer for Darkman. Who is Darkman?
Darkman is Liam Neeson.
Find out in theaters. You spoiled it.
Oh, come on.
They're supposed to find out in theaters this August. Oh. I mean, according to, I don't know, the marketing.
The ad campaign. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the poster would say Liam Neeson.
Yeah, probably.
They want to know who the character is.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, yeah.
Spoilers again. Let's give a very brief. I'm going to just read the IMDb synopsis for this one because the movie is a little bit more complicated than like walks into water, it gets eaten by shark. So here's the IMDb synopsis: a brilliant scientist left for dead returns to exact revenge on the people who burned him alive. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
I like that one.
And that man's name is Peyton.
Yeah,
Peyton, yeah.
or Pate. Which
is, I didn't realize was a thing that you could say.
Yeah, I was like, is that so Liam Neeson's character's name is Peyton Westlake, and throughout the entire film, his girlfriend Julie, played by Frances McDormand, is calling him Pate, and I was like, wait, so like halfway through my notes, I'm like, what's his name? I don't know what the heck his name is. Is he saying like
fucking Darkman?
I thought he was saying like, I don't know what he was saying.
I tend to watch with the captions, so I... Yeah.
Oh.
So you were just confused why they're spelling Pete so wrong.
Yeah.
But I was like, is this a thing people actually do? Shorten the name Peyton to
Peyton.
Pate?
Really, I think maybe it's usually shortened as like Pay. No.
What? Yeah, Pay Manning, get out there.
Peyton.
Get out there, Pate.
Get out there, Pate.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start calling him that.
Pate Man.
Pate Johns.
Pate Man.
All right.
I don't know, but yeah, that was really funny. So yeah, he plays this scientist that is, having a great life. He's working on creating this synthetic skin, and he's got it almost right. It can last for 99 minutes.
A completely arbitrary amount of time.
Very random amount of time before it, dissolves and bubbles up into, nothing.
The way you see it is a first cells breaking down and then a nose melts.
Yeah, it looks really cool, actually.
It does. No, the practical effects look awesome, and like one of these things with these movies is that like Sam Raimi's trying to make like a 2004 blockbuster in 1990 with this movie. Like a lot of the effect shots are pushing the fucking limit, and now they look super hokey. But
they still look pretty good if you take into consideration that it was 1990.
Yeah, I mean, there's some scenes and things that don't work, but like if they were on a storyboard, like in a modern movie now, like it would be completely seamless.
Oh yeah, it was funny on the I watched this on one of the awesome Shout Factory Blu-rays. Mm-hmm. That they put out a couple years ago.
Shout out to Shout Factory.
Shout out to Shout Factory. And one of the guys on the crew that they were interviewing was just like, this was before people had computers. Like I bought my first computer working on this film, and we used it to balance our budget.
Yeah.
That's all we did. And so, like, just, you know, watching the movie and, like, you know, almost each subsequent scene is, like, another thing that you're like, man, I can't even imagine doing that kind of thing back before they could just be like, oh, we'll do this digitally. Not that, like, doing it digitally is, you know, hard work or anything. I mean, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, not that doing it digitally isn't hard work. But this is just like another level. It's like just crazy camera tricks and it's amazing prosthetics nuts. And stuff.
And like, and the story wise too, like in his lab, the way he's making this synthetic skin, he's basically 3D printing.
Yeah,
it's it seems like like he uses a scanner where he's scanning like physical photos to get copies of like the face, which is like the scanner is this like this really hokey like almost like Xerox machine.
But the 3D printer looks almost exactly like 3D printers we have now. It's like they know
it's exactly how you would do it now. It's like you take a 3D scan, but like you know it's cool. Like it's like they're obviously thinking about it, and there's a lot of modern things that happen in this movie that feels very much like 1990.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's only one Batman, like modern Batman movie at this point, like from 1989.
Yeah.
So this was like, you know, way before almost everything that we think of as a superhero movie now, except for maybe like Superman. So
yeah, and we should say that like I don't know if we mentioned yet, but this is directed by Sam Raimi. And it kind of came out of his obvious love for comics, and his want to do his own Batman movie, but not being able to because, you know, obviously they were doing Tim Burton. Yeah,
he tried to get various superhero rights, and all the studios were like, no. And so he's like, okay, fine, I'll make my own superhero.
So I'll make my own superhero that's basically is Batman.
Yeah, it's
who likes
awesome.
to actually kill people.
And this was right after, this is his next movie after Evil Dead 2, so it's fresh off of kind of that comedy horror, you know, full frenetic camera move. That's where Sam Raimi becomes Sam Raimi. Like, and this movie is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you can see tons of things in this movie that go on to influence, obviously, Spider-Man and all the modern superhero films today. So, I also, this is a Universal movie, and it says he was really inspired by the Universal classic monster movies like Phantom of the Opera and Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I mean, his character, like, this movie is basically like Phantom of the Super Science Lab.
It really is. And there's some times where Liam Neeson is doing a straight up Boris Karloff impression, you know.
It's like, you'll watch this movie and, like, you know, 30 times throughout the film, you'll be like, oh, that's Phantom of the Opera. Oh, that's Beauty and the Beast.
That's
that's like Hunchback. Yeah, that's Frankenstein. You know, it's like all these classic story tropes and character types, but just the way it's combined using like the most, you know, modern, you know, technology that they had and camera techniques and everything was just like, you know, makes it stand on its own, I think, apart from being like, oh, this is a Phantom of the Opera ripoff.
Yeah, but I liked how they didn't bother to try and like hide it either. Like, it was very overt. Like, there was seriously a part where he was on a roof crouching next to two gargoyles. You know, like, I mean, they're not really hiding it.
And what I love about that scene is that, like, you know he's about to appear and it just cuts to a gargoyle and you're like, here he comes. He's gonna be on the rooftop, there's gonna be a lightning strike. Do it, I'm excited.
But yeah, I would say, you know, Darkman should be in the Dark Universe.
Oh! He should have been the mastermind!
Pretty sure we just peaked the audio.
I mean, that's fine, whatever.
Darkman for Dark Universe, since apparently every other movie's getting canceled anyway.
I would watch that.
I would totally watch that. So let's kind of, let's just talk a little bit about some of the other characters in this film. We have Robert Durant. One of the main villains.
We see him, the movie starts with, like, hey, here's the tone of this crazy-ass, like, gangster superhero movie, with Robert Durant kind of raiding this other dude's hideout.
This guy, Eddie Black.
Yeah, Eddie Black.
You guessed it, is black. What? And also, I want to point out that Eddie Black had one of those huge suitcase cell phones in the beginning,
yes,
too.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
So this breaking down the scene is worth it just because it is giving the flavor of what this whole series is going to be.
Yeah.
And so, like, and it's this Dick Tracy type, you know,
it's
gang.
basically Free Fire.
Yeah. And,
oh, totally.
And they come in and they say, hey, like, we gotta take all your weapons off your guys if we're going to meet. And so Eddie Black takes all of Durant's weapons and then, you know, threatens him. And then Durant's like, no, like, I have a threat for you. And turns out one of Durant's henchmen has a false leg that is in fact a machine gun.
Yeah, and the henchman's name is Skippy. By the way.
And then when they take his leg to shoot, he starts hopping around on his other foot.
Yeah.
The entire time, like he can't balance.
In true Sam Raimi fashion, he cuts to a man hopping on one leg while everyone's being massacred.
Yeah, this scene was insane because like the guy with the gun, the leg gun, is just shooting up everyone, and then it turns into this full on like action scene where like out of nowhere these cars like come bursting out of the shipping crates. I'm like, were there cars just sitting there with guys in them waiting for this?
Cars come from crates.
Yes.
We know this.
Yeah, they come bursting out of crates and they're driving around and people are getting shot and the whole time Skippy's jumping around.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny and like over the top.
And violent. Like it's crazy violent. And then Durant, comes to Eddie Black and uses a cigar chopper to cut off 3 of his fingers.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I have bad news for you. I have 7 more reasons. And like he's applying these and cut off all of his fingers.
Yeah.
And then the Darkman credits play.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense.
So it's that classic. I mean, Marvel movies do this today, where they introduce the villain before the movie even starts.
Yep. You don't even get to you don't even meet Darkman until after.
This is the first superhero origin story that's on that. Like I think that you get to see full. Like it's the modern day origin story because like even Tim Burton's Batman's not that.
Right. That's true.
It's like beat for beat like every Marvel movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was
totally.
so far before that that it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't feel trite because you realize it's before everything else. So.
Yeah, so they set him up as the big bad, and then they introduce the MacGuffin of the piece, which is this
Memorandum.
the memorandum. I wanted to call it the Zabriskie memorandum, but that's not what it's called.
It's called like the. Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
It's like Gabluski or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Really odd name, yeah.
Yeah. It has,
Geraldo.
Memorandum.
but it has like a rabbit's foot type. Like it's a thing that everybody wants.
So yeah, his girlfriend Julie, Frances McDormand, is a lawyer, and she has found this memorandum from her work that shows her boss is up to some kind of bribery things, and very pointedly, Liam Neeson puts a cup of coffee on top of the memorandum and leaves a coffee stain on there, so that later we know it's the same piece of paper.
Yeah.
Good move, art department.
Yeah.
So her boss is kind of introduced as like I'm not such a bad guy, like I bribed some people, but I have plans for the future. But if you've ever read a comic book before, you know this guy's fucking evil.
Yep. He's like,
and the movie's not trying to hide that from you whatsoever.
Yeah. He tries to be like, you better watch out. There's this other guy, Durant, who's trying to get this property I want, and he's pretty dangerous. And you're like, okay, sure, whatever, guy.
Yeah, and so he basically kind of like vaguely threatens her, and then she gives up the ghost that the memorandum is not with her, and they're like, oh, well, I go wonder if it's at her boyfriend's house.
Yeah, in the very next scene,
Yeah.
Durant shows up at Westlake's lab.
I didn't realize that the lab and the house were together until this point, and then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't really think that either,
Yeah,
I guess.
but
You know how you sleep
Darkman's
above your skin printer?
Peyton's assistant, Yaki Tito, is a Japanese man.
Tito!
By the way, Yaki Tito could not be a Japanese name. There's no T, like T-I in Japanese. So, yeah. And actually, if you Google that term, most of the results are related to Darkman.
No.
So it's not a word. It's not
That's
a name.
funny.
So
It could be a family name.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
It could be purely Japanese. It's LA. You know. You could.
So, yeah, Yaki Tito meets a gruesome end.
Yeah, he gets shot clean through the head, just like Durant likes
With a gold gun by Sam Raimi's little brother.
Yep. Who's in all his movies, right?
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so then we get the like classic,
superhero
origin.
creations. Yeah.
It's super brutal, this scene where they're beating him up. Like, at first I was like, superhero thing, but then I was like, oh god, this is like a lot, because they like beat the crap out of him and like put his face through a bunch of glass panels.
Yep.
Then they make him hold on, they put his hands on this really hot thing that like burns his hands to a crisp.
Yeah, I think it was like electricity or
It's
something.
it's an electromagnet.
Yeah, and then they throw him in a vat of like boiling liquid of some sort.
Yeah,
acid.
And then they set up a trap with, what are those bouncing birds?
With a drinky bird.
A drinky bird.
And a
A
lighter.
lighter and a bunch of gas going, and it explodes the building so much. He's already burned and disfigured. It explodes the building so much that his whole body is set on fire and launched out of the building into the sky into a nearby river.
So guys, it took us 4 Species movies to get an explosion this cool. Darkman does it in 10 minutes.
That's right. And it was I love the like crazy supervillain setup to this. Like he's got that drinky bird thing going, and you're just watching it like slowly. It's like, you know, tipping down to hit this lighter that he's been.
And he's crawling through glass to stop it. Like he sees what's gonna happen. He's like, no.
Yeah. And like the scene where his hands get burned is so cool. Like he grabs onto the thing to try to stop them from dunking his head into this vat of, I don't even know what, pink whatever.
Skin acid.
Yeah, sure. And like it burns his hands, and it like they had this crazy like, I don't know if it was like stop motion or
I think some of it was practical and some of it was painted on, but it's basically both of his forearms catch on fire, and like it looks fucking great.
And it like you can see like the burns like ripple down his arm. And then
there was a whole department in the credits just for that hand burning scene.
Oh yeah. And then they dunk him in there, and they're holding him so maniacally, like
yeah.
they're like laughing.
Really messed up. Yeah, they are taking like a lot of pleasure in doing it. It's like they don't even know this guy. You know, just a random scientist. So
it's so insane.
It was really disturbing. Yeah.
So then there's this CG shot that doesn't quite work of him getting blown out of the.
Yeah, he's like,
and like there's like an aerial shot of the explosion behind him, and then he's obviously laying on a blue screen doing like wiggling his ass.
It didn't really bother me that much because that's when I really started to see that like. This is very stylized to be like a graphic novel and a comic book.
It's one of those things that and even does an even better job of this than Ang Lee's Hulk movie, which he tried much later on with transitions. But like every frame of this movie is a frame right out of a comic book.
Oh, yeah.
Even the transitions, even the way that the story progresses is straight out of a comic book. And the visual gymnastics that he does to get from one framing of that to another is insane. Like, there's this one scene, so, like, it's right after this, actually, when Frances McDormand sees, like, she's there, sees the building blow up, and then she's standing there, and then it, like, hard transitions with, like, this, it's almost like a zoom boom with a Hitchcock rear projection type thing with, like, some matted on clothes for her, but it's basically supposed to be, like, a stylized hard cut from her standing there to him being at his grave.
Right.
I thought that was a great shot.
Oh, it's awesome, and it happens, like, it would be so cool in a modern day movie, and it's using every trick in the book to pull it off here. Because that's a cut that you see in a comic book movie.
Yeah, it was very
Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure that cemetery is Evergreen, where my great-grandparents are buried in East LA.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, we should also say, like, most of this, or all of this movie was filmed in, like, it's LA for Detroit, I think, because in the beginning they have bins that say it's in Detroit, but yeah, it's very, very, so many LA shots. Like, they throw him out of a window one time, like, on Broadway, and I'm like, oh, that's next door to my work. I mean,
and they go to Hop Louie.
Yeah,
like,
right, that's true.
Her law office is located in the Bonaventure. They make sure to show you the establishing shot, and all the skyline shots are of LA, so.
Yeah, famously Hop Louie.
Yeah, Chinatown.
But I think that it's closed now, but damn, I love that place.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yes, so one thing that we forgot to mention that is important, like every superhero origin story, Frances McDormand is the love interest, and he tries to propose to her before he gets blown up.
Right.
And she's like, I'll think about it.
Yeah. I need to think about it, Pete. Oh, his name is Pete? No, it's not Pete.
It sets up that, like, he had everything, you know?
Yeah.
Successful skin printing business.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Girl of his dreams.
Was it a business?
So after the funeral, we find out that his body has been discovered, and they just think he's a John Doe, homeless guy, and they have... There's kind of an interesting exposition framing device where the doctor is explaining everything that happened to him to these medical students, and it's a little hokey, but it worked.
She's like, this is how he's a superhero now.
Right.
Yeah.
We cut his nerves so he can't feel pain. Otherwise, he would be screaming the rest of his life.
Then she just jams a needle in his arm.
She's like, see? Ha! He didn't do anything.
And for some reason, he's on, like, a wheel being turned around in a circle.
Like in the Da Vinci
one of those
pose.
circus things. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of circus imagery in the movie, too.
And
he has augmented strength.
Right. Yeah. Which is why we have him strapped down, naturally.
He has super strength, but he also has, like, uncontrollable emotions, which are going to cause outbursts.
Basically, they trimmed a part of his brain to cut off pain because as a humanitarian thing, because his burns were so bad. But this trim to the brain has side effects: super strength and madness.
Yep. That sounds good. I don't know.
So yeah, for some reason he gets pissed and escapes and jumps out the window and is wandering around in the rain.
Something reminds him of being murdered.
I don't remember. I think he just wakes up and is like, "Where am I?"
Yeah.
And then like breaks out and jumps out the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Frankenstein stuff.
So he immediately goes to, where his lab was, and I guess her apartment was pretty close because he sees her walking, and he goes up to her right away, which I was sort of like relieved to see happen because, I don't know, I didn't want it to be like a Deadpool thing where he's like, I can't see her, like for the entire movie. He went up to her right away, and she, I hit his computer, and she did not recognize him at all and got scared. So I was like, okay, at least like they got that out of the way and they weren't.
I like that scene because his voice was so like,
yeah,
underwater Liam Neeson.
it's me, just like that. I mean, it was also raining. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's what it was. It was the rain.
So he decides to gather together whatever his equipment he can. He sets up shop. His
Magnavox.
In an abandoned warehouse, and starts again on the skin.
I wonder how many trips it took him to take it all the way to that warehouse.
No, dude, because he had a shopping cart.
Took one.
He sets up his lab in this warehouse so quickly and like pretty much exactly the same as what it was. I'm like, how is that? All that equipment was still there to do that?
It's like the Junktown version of it though. It's like he's using like Sparklets bottles to hold skin fluid.
There's like rats like
bottles.
running in wheels to power everything.
There's a cat that doesn't want to be friends with him because he's so ugly.
And is he a freak and am I a freak?
Oh yeah, did we get to that part yet?
I don't know. I mean,
pretty much. The funniest thing about this scene is so he's obviously like trying to find a way to print his original face so that he can get back with Julie, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if this happens before or afterwards, but there's one point where he's using the microscope and his hands catch on fire.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
That's how he realizes he can't feel pain.
Yeah, and then so his hands are on fire, and then like he just like slowly puts it out, and then he just starts screaming, "My hands! They took my hands!" And I'm like, they're right there, buddy. Like, you got them. Like, you can't feel anything else.
He's just having those emotional problems that the doctor said he would have.
My hands.
They took my hands.
So he has one photo of himself only, but ironically, it's half burned in the exact same places that he is really badly burned. And so he tries to, use the other side of his face and flip it to generate the whole face. But it's going to take 571 hours to...
600 minutes.
Yeah. That's how long it's going to take to render his face.
I love that you're talking about the fire thing, and it's like I think it's like towards the end of this like hilarious montage where he's like,
this very sciencey montage.
He's saying all this stuff. He's like, yeah, quadrants, extrapolate, and then he's like, I must perfect the skin.
There's like test tubes and beakers flying around.
It's like my notice is like a lot of beakers being.
It's like the opening of the Twilight Zone or something where there's all these like things flying around the screen.
It's full on like Sam Raimi, like just inserts of like things and crossfades and like
yeah. Which I don't remember the guy's name right offhand, but the guy who did the montages and everything got like a special credit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like before the full credits at the end of the film. I mean, they were pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're making fun of it.
So while he is waiting for the skin to like the algorithm to run or whatever, he follows Julie to some function.
A party for Strack Industries, not to be confused with Stark Industries.
That's right.
No, I rewind the first time they showed that piece of paper. I rewound it because I was like, "Did that say Stark Industries?"
Oh my god, it's all connected.
I know. I was like, "Whoa, that'd be crazy."
And then I had a realization watching the scene because okay, so first off, the what's the business dude's name?
Strack.
We were just talking about.
I know. What was it?
I think Lewis,
whatever.
something like that.
Yeah.
So he does like the smarmy villain thing where he's like grief. Like, I have one cure for it to make you forget for a little bit. It's dancing.
The cure is dancing, and then he starts dancing with her.
And then she's like,
everybody, let's do the conga.
And it's one of the things. It's actually one of the bad things of original like comic book stories like that, where like the women suck because they're just it's always just like to make the character motivations work. just like, well, I guess I'm into this guy now.
She wasn't really that into him. She's just like, oh, let me have fun and dance.
She gives him a smile and, whatever.
Yeah.
But so he sees that and, like...
Of course he sees
There's
it.
this
They
crazy, like,
it.
Raimi zoom back of, like, him in the vent being like, oh, they're dancing. And then a full Kill Bill sequence happens where he sees the people who murdered him. It does the... and, like, it's red flashing. And he's like, I know who did it! It's like, it's exactly the Kill Bill sequence.
Pretty much. And then it leads to this insane scene where he takes Ted Raimi, one of the henchmen for Durant.
The guy who shot Yaki Tito.
Yeah, he takes him down in the sewers, and he's doing the whole kind of like, swear to me kind of thing that Batman normally does. And he's like, I'm telling you, man, I don't know anything. And he's like, let's just say, what does he say?
No, he's like, I know you told me everything, but let's just pretend like you didn't.
Yeah, and then he like thrusts him up through this manhole cover into a busy street.
Yeah.
And there's this like manic, insane scene.
If you ever played Toad's Turnpike, that's exactly what this is like.
where Ted Raimi's like top half of his body is like outside on the street, and he's just like freaking the fuck out because cars are zooming past him, zooming, and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck?
And then in every other superhero movie, you're like, oh, like he's gonna get pulled back down.
It's just a scare tactic.
Nope, fire truck.
Yep, he just holds him up there till he dies.
And
I was like, fuck, okay, this is different than Batman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so then we get more montages where now his plan is to kill off all the henchmen and the bad guys one by one. And the first one he goes after is
Anthony Mackie.
Current day Bruce Willis. When I saw this guy, I was
Pauly.
like... That's later.
Current day Bruce Willis.
I was like, oh, is that Bruce Willis? And I was like, oh, no, wait, Bruce Willis looked young then. This looks like now.
Bruce Willis was moonlighting at the time.
Yeah. So he replicates him and does this crazy thing where he impersonates him. Or no, sorry, he prints his skin.
Yeah, this is like his special power. He can print the skin of other people that he takes photos of, and then can become them for 99 minutes.
But I don't know how he got that one to render so quickly when his picture was still rendering.
Well, because he had a full photo of it.
No. I think that it's not the render. I think that to calculate how to make the skin last longer would take 500 hours.
No, it was the render because it was an incomplete face, and he was trying to map the left side or certain portions of his face that was there onto the one that was
the 3D map was up to 72 polys. Which is, oh boy, it's a lot. It's not.
So yeah, basically he manages to get Pauly killed by the boss and cover up the fact that he killed the other guy by trying to make it seem like Pauly and the first guy were trying to abscond with the boss's money.
I think that there's something that's really cool about this, in that this is the first person that he impersonates, and he's obviously not comfortable in this guy's skin.
Yeah.
It's like he's not, doesn't say any words, doesn't do anything. Like, they're playing by the rules a little bit. I mean, it's obviously the actor or whatever, but like, it does kind of, it has that uneasy moment of, I'm using my powers for the first time. I'm not really sure how it's going to go.
And there's a amazing scene. They throw Pauly out the window, and he lands in a car. And the whole time, Darkman has been sitting there dressed as Pauly on like a bench. And this lady like looks over and sees Pauly dead in the car, and then she turns to the other side and sees him sitting on the bench, and she's like,
and then the timer goes off in Darkman's pocket, because remember, arbitrary 99 minutes for the skin to work, and he's like, oh no, and starts running because his face starts melting.
And he leaves her having the fucking nervous breakdown of her life.
Wouldn't that lady just be like, oh my god, sir, your twin brother just died, like...
I think she was just panicking.
Yeah,
I think I don't know, she was being hysterical.
But yeah, the 99 minutes thing is hilarious. But I mean, the thing that's kind of cool about this too is that, like, most of the superhero movies, like, that happens. He's like, if he doesn't make it, fine. Him sitting there on the bench is him knowing that he's going to die. And he wants to see it happen.
Yep, he's waiting for the inevitable death.
And he can see the future that he's going to be thrown out into the streets.
Darkman.
Can we, like, do a parody version of 99 Problems, but, like, 99 minutes and the skin is done or something?
That's amazing. That is amazing.
99 minutes, then the skin is done.
All right, let's record it. One of you listeners, send us in your version of 99 minutes
for Darkman.
But the skin is, and then the skin is done
by Dark Z.
So one thing that I found really weird was every time he would go back to his lab, he would put on the original, like, dirty, gross gauze. Like, he never got new, clean gauze. Like, it was always like, let me put back on this dirty gauze that's gotten wet 5 times and is, like, dark brown.
It's because he spent all his money building this fucking lab back up.
Yes.
He's like, oh, my gauze dollars went into the rat machine.
He used clean gauze to cover his face when he had the poly face on, but then when he went back to the lab after that, he put the dirty gauze back on.
It's super safe to say that as a kid, Sam Raimi loved The Invisible Man and the scene where he took the gauze off his face, because it happens in this movie like 6 times.
Oh, yeah. And he goes, oh my god, my face! Every time.
Yeah.
Like he forgot.
So there's one time when he gets frustrated that the skin is not working, and he submits to a fit of rage and starts singing about how he's a circus.
He's yelling at a cat. He's like, the cat's like, he's like, are you trying to judge me? You think I'm some sort of circus freak?
Yeah.
And then he starts dancing and singing, just $5 to see the dancing freak, and like dancing around.
With a funnel on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he puts like a Tin Man funnel.
He looks like a little clown,
dancing.
yeah. Fully losing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he goes shithouse with a 2x4 and just a bunch of his garbage.
Yeah, he kills
him. He goes to his crate room. Yeah. He's got the lab totally built, and then when he goes on his rampage, he's in like a different hallway where it's all just like boxes and crates.
It's his rage room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, shortly after this, there's a scene at the carnival where he's, wait, I guess we kind of like skipped over him making his own face finally.
So basically, like, his face takes just long enough to render where he murders 2 people.
Yeah. But then he gets to have his own face and reunite with Julie, who's initially shocked.
Which she's terrified because he chooses to reveal himself at the fucking cemetery.
Yeah.
At his grave. It's like, you've been following her the entire time. Like, yes, she's coming to pay respects to you.
Yeah.
Don't do it at the cemetery.
He stands off in the
Phantom of the
distance.
Opera thing.
Yeah.
Cemetery
He stands
scene,
off creepily in the distance and then goes, Julie, it's me. And anyone would be like, what the fuck? Yeah. You're dead. Oh my gosh!
This guy was just in a coma.
Yeah.
And then he tells her an elaborate lie that he's in a therapy group that doesn't want him to see her for more than 99 minutes.
Well, he says, doesn't he? Yeah, he says he has like treatments or something.
Yeah, he has treatments.
So he doesn't want to like start their relationship back up right away.
Yeah.
So. But they still kind of go on dates, and we do get a scene with Durant, and we get to see his cigar box of fingers that he...
Ooh, that was creepy.
Yeah.
That he's keeping, and he also pets a dead rabbit corpse as a pet,
As you do.
And this is where the Darkman impersonates Durant, and he holds up a convenience store and causes him to be arrested. And then there's a whole Chinese restaurant gag with a revolving door where the 2 Durants are running around the revolving door. This is like probably my favorite part. I don't know.
I thought this scene is awesome, and another example of like the impressive camera work that they had to do. They basically had to rig like... They built the revolving door into the existing Chinese restaurant, and they had to film. Apparently what they did was like, they had the camera hooked up to this computer that they had that only handled motion control.
Yep.
So it would move the camera in a very specific pattern, and they would film Larry Drake, the amazing Larry Drake, as Robert Durant. They'd film him doing his one version, and then they rebuilt that stage somewhere else and like reset up everything with the motion control camera and everything, and have him act out the other half.
Which is a really insane practical way to use motion control.
Yeah.
But, like, most shots that you see in movies like today are a motion control shot of some kind.
Right.
And like this is a very, very like they're just digitally replacing, they're not rebuilding in a physical location.
Yeah, they were like
fucking crazy.
They were like shooting over the same film they had already shot. Which
That's
is like
fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's just the planning and everything that went into that is insane, and it looks really good.
Yeah,
like I hadn't seen this movie before, but I swear I had seen that shot. They during the special features they pull up this still of like the 2 Durants stuck in the revolving door staring at each other, like, And I swear I'd seen that like photo somewhere, so
Yeah.
that might have seeped into my
Well,
brain
it's really
somewhere,
funny because the other henchman, the Hispanic one, Rudy, is trying to, they're both yelling at him, shoot him, he's not the real one, I'm the real one, shoot him. And so he's like pointing his gun at the revolving door and being like, which one do I shoot? And like he constantly yells out like really stereotypical Mexican
he's
phrases.
like, ay, Dios mío.
Yeah, he yells out, ay, Dios mío, ¿qué pasa? There's two of these sons of bitches.
Yeah, that's exactly what he says.
So funny.
That's exactly
I'm
what he says.
dying. So, yeah, that happens, but it does not kill Durant.
Yeah, Durant gets knocked out, and Darkman runs away, and Durant wakes up like, "You idiots! What were you thinking?" That kind of thing.
And then there's this sweet shot of the Durant mask melting in the sun.
Yeah, because they're like, "What the fuck?"
And then is this before? Like, there's another date that he goes on.
Yeah, then we get the circus date.
Yeah, circus date.
There's a date where they're at this carnival, and everything's going great, and then they play. He's like mindlessly playing this like carny game, you know, where you have to throw the baseball to hit the milk.
Yeah, no, they're like, I'm so in love
jugs
with you, like I
down.
don't want to miss you, like I love you so much, and he's like, I'm gonna win you a big fuzzy elephant.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be great.
But
I love
also
you so
in the
much.
back-
Misses,
The
and then,
circus barker is introducing the mutant man who
That's right.
was just like a deformed guy that they were making fun of, which I feel like even in 1990 people weren't really doing that at circuses anymore, but
I mean, that guy did look really weird, so I don't know what
apparently
was wrong
that was
with
a cameo by the makeup artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
so-
That's
fun. But like, so it's what, you know, the movie actually does a pretty cool thing where you can tell when Pate is doing this, aka Darkman, is tracking down his killers. He's getting enjoyment out of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking pleasure in making them suffer, and he's struggling between the two identities. And so they're on this date, and kind of his rage gets the better of him, and he breaks a carny's finger.
Yeah, there's another one of those like Kill Bill sequences.
Yeah.
He has a breakdown, like his trigger word is definitely freak. Like if
Yeah.
anyone says, "Oh, you're a freak," then he like loses it.
And this one is insane. It's like, yeah, you see the carnival worker and the game behind him, and like these like cracks of orange come into reality, like it's breaking apart, and then you kind of zoom in and out of Darkman's face as he's like clearly enraged and like freaking out, and there's like skulls in the background and stuff, and then like the guy, you know, had the carny had like pointed his fingers at Darkman, and he just like bends them backwards.
As soon as it touches him, he's like, "Don't fucking touch me."
Yeah, and he bends them backwards, and you see this amazing like quick shot of like Darkman's face, like ah, and then you see the carny's face, like oh my god, and then you see Julie's face, like ah.
it's like a That 70s Show like camera swing.
Yeah, exactly. You see everyone's like insane reactions to this thing.
So he
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's
after this
one of my favorite
outburst, he
scenes.
runs away, and they zoom out, and you can see in the carnival there's a big sign that says Esmeralda, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they're referencing Hunchback again. But then this time she follows him to the shipyard or the abandoned warehouse or whatever it is, and she wants to see his face, but he will not do it. And then I guess she leaves.
Yep, that's pretty much it. She leaves and takes that fucking elephant with her. He says that in the movie.
He does.
Take the fucking elephant! God damn it.
So I think she goes again to the boss. He reveals his evil plan with a lot of exposition.
Yeah, there's a funny he gets this whole scene where like he's like, I'm building the future, and he opens up this crazy like window on his corner office, and you see that they're already building it in the background. But they said on the DVD or on the Blu-ray that there's this deleted scene where like originally Sam Raimi was like wanted Strack to be like just getting out of the shower and like walking through his office with the towel on, and then he would walk over to this like box full of like Spanish like gold currants or something, and like pour them over his body.
That's amazing.
And
why does that happen?
They said that the studio was like, I'm not really sure what's happening here. I thought this was supposed to be like a summer action movie.
It's called McDucking.
What is this? Yeah. And so that scene did not make the final movie, but I was like, that's hilarious. They were going to have him just be like, yeah, I'm rich. I'm so rich.
So Strack and Durant basically capture Julie to lure out Darkman, and then we get the big set piece of this movie, which is a truck helicopter chase where Liam Neeson is hanging from a helicopter all over downtown LA for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, this is nuts. Apparently they had to shut down 9 city blocks for 4 weekends in a row.
Oh my god.
In downtown Los Angeles.
If that happened now, I'd be so pissed.
Yeah. And this scene is insane. Like, I guess throughout the filming of this movie, the studio was seeing dailies and everything, and they were really loving what they were seeing, so they kind of like decided that, hey, this is going to be like our big summer movie release. Let's keep adding like more money in and do more crazy stuff. And so they expanded this, insane helicopter chase
There
scene.
are so many practical explosions in this.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. And like it does kind of start yes, it eventually gets to the helicopter and all this crazy shit, but it starts with like a classic the movie's been so into the 50s comic book Dick Tracy type thing where it's like, okay, like, yep, like he's at the carnival, he's scared of being a freak, like there's Phantom of the Opera, and like it's all these classic references. And then so he's like, oh, the gangster's gonna take him, and it all feels rooted in like the classic noir action gangster comic book shit. Mm-hmm. And then like he gets out onto the rooftop, and then here they fly up on a helicopter. They all have fully automatic weapons and grenade launchers, and it's like, oh fuck! Like it breaks the entire mold of the entire theme that it's been setting up, and it's almost like that like. Mission Impossible 3 kind of is the same thing, where that helicopter flies up on that bridge scene. Where it's just like, this is escalating to a whole other level that I didn't think it was supposed to. And it's awesome.
Yeah, there's lots of Mission Impossible. There's a scene towards the end when Durant finally dies, like the helicopter that he's in hits the top of this like tunnel.
And, because it's strapped to the train.
Yeah, because it's strapped to this like semi that's driving through the tunnel. And and then there's a shot that like they repeated basically right in
the first Mission Impossible movie.
Mission Impossible when Tom Cruise is like the helicopter explodes, Tom Cruise flies and lands on the train. There's the same exact shot in this movie, which came out obviously before that, where Darkman is like, burn in hell, you piece of shit. As the helicopter like explodes behind him as he drives down the tunnel, and I was like, that was fucking sweet. How did they do that?
And the conceit of the helicopter is Darkman's hanging from this rope, like flailing around it and like whipping around. There's obviously a stuntman hanging off a rope off a helicopter, which is like fucking terrifying. But it's also like, yeah, he really wanted to make a Spider-Man movie.
He's flying around this rope. It's very Spider-Man, and it's very, like, Phantom, because he keeps, like, putting his cape over his face and stuff, and swinging his cape around.
And, like, there's all these cut-ins of him, like, just holding onto the line, like, speeding between buildings.
And, I mean, there's, like, a helicopter chase. There's a police helicopter that shows up, and... like, they're blown up at some point.
We should also say during this chase, there also is a chase in the warehouse with 2 of the henchmen, and there's a part where it's a mask on a mask on a mask.
Oh, like,
like, which is Mission Impossible as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, he makes the henchmen think that it's himself. And then it turns out it's Liam Neeson, and then it turns out it was really the other guy that he put 2 masks on.
So the 2 guys, like, he's running, like, Darkman becomes outmatched when this helicopter first shows up. He's like, oh fuck, like I need to hide. I was not like, I'm just a dude. I'm just a burn victim. I can't stop these guys.
Who's really good at jumping when things explode. They're like he's shooting a grenade launcher at him, and he's like, he would just always be like, I jumped, you missed me, I jumped again.
So then these 2 henchmen, like they go into this fucking warehouse, and then he's like my turf, because it's like his lab or whatever, and then it turns into fucking Saw, because he sets up like traps and like puzzle games for them, because like what happens, like he gets one guy like in pure Batman style of like, I'm close by, and then scares him in the shadows. Then the guy, his friend's out there looking, and then his friend is approached by a guy who looks just like himself. That he then shoots. Oh, no. Then he knocks him out, then pulls off the mask, and then it looks like Peyton Westlake. Then he shoots that dude, then he takes off the Peyton Westlake mask, and then it's his buddy. And he's like, no! And then he looks around, and there's all the gas is on around him. Then he sees the same Drinky Bird thing.
But...
and he's like, he runs over, he's like, oh my god, I need to stop it. And he reaches through, and it's a hologram.
It was the hologram from the lab!
And then he sees the real bird, and he's like, oh, fuck. And then the building explodes, and I believe Darkman uses it almost to, oh no, he's already on the helicopter, but then like it explodes behind him. Crazy, like,
and you're
shot.
Like, damn. That was crazy.
Like, why did he have to explode the lab again just to kill that one guy? It's like, now you're gonna have to rebuild again to make more masks later.
He doesn't care. It's the end of the movie.
So everybody's pretty much gone now, except for Strack and Julie and Darkman and like one henchman.
Yeah.
And they're up at the top of a skyscraper that's being built. And it turns out that Strack had to work on skyscrapers when he was little, and so he's really good at jumping around on metal beams in the sky without falling.
It's just really kind of cool, like, cause like he's like, it's him being like, it's like the industrial family type thing, and he's like, my dad made me work for a living. Like, I had to work up and like help build the buildings that built my fortune. So I'm really comfortable up here on the top of these things. I'm not scared at all. Like, I build things for a living.
Yeah, there's a hilarious scene where he's like up there and he's like,
monologuing.
Everything's mine, it's all mine, and he's like, because I built it all. And he like.
It's like one of those things where he like throws his hands in the air, and then the background centers around like his bullshit like City of the Future, and it's like it's right out of a comic book, and it's awesome.
There's also a part where he just unprovokedly admits that he killed his first wife to get the deeds to property.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, okay.
Damn.
Like, nobody was asking you to admit that. Like, we didn't even know about that. Like, we didn't even know who she was. Why'd you bring that up? Like, I don't know. But, yeah, he's basically, his point is he's trying to say now that Darkman is just as bad as him because he's murdered people.
We're not so different,
to get
you and I.
Yeah, who's the real monster?
Exactly.
And I think the monster is the dude who has an assault like nail gun.
Dude, I was like, is that what rivet guns really look like? And I looked it up, I'm like, no, that's not what they look like.
He was basically shooting him.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, well, they did look like that in video games.
He was shooting him with that pretty much point blank, but Liam Neeson's heightened senses allowed him to somehow dodge the point blank rivet.
And there's some really awesome like Raimi shots of like from the perspective of like inside the rivet, so like you can see like the circle around it, and it's like you're traveling with the bullet, which is awesome. But then it builds a classic Darkman set piece.
What do you mean?
Of Darkman's hand gets riveted to a piece of steel.
That's right.
While he like monologues, and then he has a Darkman freak out because he can feel no
pain. Because he says, "You're just a freak," and he's like, "Freak."
And then he just rips his hand out because he feels no pain, and then decks Stark with it.
Yeah.
Strack.
I love the Tony Stark. I love the shot of like, so like the henchman had dropped Julie off the edge and she's like hanging on this ledge.
She's hanging on some rebar with handcuffs.
And Darkman like swings like George of the Jungle style to grab her.
No, it's a Mary Jane like smash.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And there's this shot of like Strax shooting the rivet gun and his face is just like, I'm shooting at you. Up again. Yeah. It's just like he has like the crazy comic book villain face on it. It's so great. That actor. I didn't even know who is the guy who played that.
His name is Colin Friels.
Friels, yeah.
He's married to Judy Davis.
He played a great over the top corporate
super
villain.
fun.
Yeah. So then finally Darkman gets the upper hand and he's holding Strack over the edge, and Strack's like, "You can't even kill me. You don't have it in you." And
that's right. You'll be thinking about this the rest of your life.
You'll never be able to live with it.
And in any other movie, you'd be like, he's going to pull him up and put him in jail.
But not Darkman, because Darkman's a badass. He drops him. He drops that motherfucker.
He's really dark in more than one way.
Yeah, he drops him, and then he says, "I'm learning to live with a lot of things."
Oh! And I will mention that one of the things that also happens in this movie is like he's hiding his face the entire time. The entire time you never see like how bad it is. They make a point of you not seeing like how fucked up he is.
You kind of get like as the movie goes on, you see more and more of his face, like that. He's got crazy skeleton teeth.
So at the top of this scene, Strack rips it off, and this is the time that Frances McDormand sees him for what he is for the first time. And like it's pretty horrific. It's pretty bad. And it's one of those other things that happens in modern day superhero movies where it's like you don't see the full suit, you don't see the hero being the hero until the third act, and it does the same thing here. And Sam Raimi's hero is his uniform, his power is being grotesque.
Yeah. And so
even after Strack is gone, Darkman's like, "Don't look at me." He's doing the Christina Aguilera, "Don't look at me." And then they kind of decide to go their separate ways, and it's a bittersweet.
Yeah.
Well, she wants to like stay with him, and he's like, "Peyton is gone."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like I've learned like I thought my skin could change, I thought I could fix it, but like I've changed on the inside, and like I'm not going to change back. Yeah.
She tries to chase after him, but he escapes by turning into Bruce Campbell.
That's right.
Which I thought was awesome.
It's the best. Apparently, yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't expecting that. Like, she follows after him, and he, goes off into the crowd, and she's like stopping all these guys wearing trench coats, and like everyone's wearing a trench coat. She's like,
yeah, it's LA Detroit. It's LA Detroit. Of course, everyone's wearing trench coats.
And then, you see like zoom off into the distance. You see a guy turn around, and it's Bruce Campbell,
and then
MVP of all.
And then it's the superhero like I'm everyone. And no one.
Yeah. This is his classic line. He's like, it shows Bruce Campbell's face, and he says, I'm everyone and no one.
And then that Danny
everywhere,
score.
nowhere. And then he's like, call me Darkman.
Darkman.
And then it goes, yeah, just like that. The Blu-ray that I have, the main menu, it comes up with the Darkman logo, and then he goes, call me Darkman. And then the music plays, and it just like, if you let it sit there, it just repeats over and over like, call me Darkman.
That's awesome.
We just had, I think Eliz just mentioned that the score was done by Danny Elfman, who I love. And this is like very much, I think the score is really awesome, but if you were to just play it for any random person, they'd probably be like, "Oh, that's from Batman."
Well, it's right after.
I know it sounds like unused Batman cues, basically, but it is really cool.
Yeah,
I think it fits the tone of the film like perfectly.
Absolutely.
And Waxwork Records just put out the album recently, which you should totally go buy and support them. And I am excited to listen to it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful release.
Yeah,
I just got it.
So overall, did we like this movie?
Fuck yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You did?
I love this movie, yeah.
How many Drinky Birds out of 10 would you give it?
This gets 9 out of 10 Drinky Birds.
Ooh, I think
But the Drinky Birds are filled with gold.
Oh, okay, so that's like pretty much 10 out of 10. That might even go above 10, I don't know. I think I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 Drinky Birds. Like,
I'll give it 8 Drinky Birds. I really liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot too. I might revise mine, when I think about it later, but I mostly was just like shocked that I had never seen this movie.
Yeah, I never even heard of it. I didn't know anything about it at all until you guys brought it up. I think overall I really liked the design, the comic booky thing that we talked about. Mm-hmm. The practical makeup effects were just like so cool.
This movie is one of the most ambitious things that you could ever see. It's trying so much fucking things, and it just shows that Sam Raimi is just such a technical wizard, and was just given his first chance to be like, all right, let's see what we can do. And is it all successful? No, but there's nothing more fun to just watch somebody like that swing for the fences. That's absolutely what this movie is.
It's really great. And we should say that the movie was out in 1990. Did okay at the box office, but apparently did really well after the fact, on VHS sales at the time. And that is why there are sequels, which we will be talking about soon.
Right, and we'll be getting to that. It was originally supposed to be a TV pilot, right? It was something that...
No, the TV pilot came later, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently, I think they were saying, Larry Drake was saying on the Blu-ray that I always talk about, but
Justin's Blu-ray corner.
That's right. He was saying that I don't know if Sam Raimi produced the second movie or not, but they were talking at that time, and Sam Raimi was just like, I just love your character so much, and because Larry Drake had been on L.A. Law before this and was mostly known for playing really nice characters, and he's kind of this bigger guy, and he got to play this villain, and Sam Raimi just loved it and wanted to put him in something else, so they tried to work towards this TV pilot where they kind of put together, you can watch it on YouTube if you want. Mm-hmm. We could put it in the show notes too. It's kind of like this 22-minute thing that they shot with, new actors. Larry Drake is in it as Robert Durant, but they also cut in footage from the movie. And I think in the end, it just didn't quite sell it well.
Yeah.
And they didn't end up making it into a TV show.
But then Sam Raimi went on to make the Hercules TV show.
Yeah.
Exactly. What? I had no idea. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's the next one called?
The next one is called Darkman 2, The Return of Durant.
Oh,
shit!
We're supposed to think that Durant died in the helicopter explosion.
Yes,
okay.
for sure. I mean, any person would think he was dead.
Yeah.
So he'll be back, I guess.
I'm excited to, I feel like more than any of the films, well, Species, I was pretty excited too. But this one I feel like extra excited about seeing what's going to happen next.
I mean, it's the thing. It's like, as Zarface says, every hero needs a villain. And like where the Dark Knight, you get your Joker, like Durant, I'm sure, gets his own crazy supervillain origin story, and they're gonna get super powered and duke it out.
Maybe Durant. So obviously,
I haven't seen 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Obviously,
I don't know anything about it, but yeah, I think you need Darkman needs new motivation, because right now it was only revenge for that original accident, and so he needs some reason to keep being this.
Well, if Durant was still alive, that would certainly be something that he would want to fix.
But I don't know. I feel like Julie's going to be gone, and so that will no longer be a motivation.
Yeah. Maybe Durant, I mean, maybe he survived with burns himself, and now he
Oh, by the way, I did read that Liam Neeson actually worked with, burn victim organizations to, understand.
Yeah, he went to, burn boards.
Yeah.
And,
that's awesome.
It's funny how Sam Raimi had to fight for... He didn't want Liam Neeson, he wanted Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
And the studio was like, no.
Yeah.
We'll get that guy. And had to fight for Frances McDormand as well. They wanted to use somebody who was a little bit more conventional...
Yeah, they said when they were doing the original designs for Darkman's face and everything, too, they had designed it with Bruce Campbell in mind. And when they were like, well, we got Liam Neeson, they had to, change it up, so, what else you guys want? Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, I think I'm looking forward. I think that's what the sequel is going to be. I'm excited to see what it's going to be like. I believe Sam Raimi does produce it, so I'm excited to see
I did want to mention that they made a Darkman video game for the NES. And you can also watch this on YouTube, but it looks really awesome. Actually,
I need to get that on emulator.
There's it's like a basic platformer, but there's these moments in the game where you have to create the fake face of Polly or Durant, and so there's these first person parts in the game where it's kind of like Time Crisis type thing where you're looking at a building with a bunch of windows. And guys pop out, and you are moving the cursor on the screen of a camera.
Oh my god!
Of a camera lens.
Darkman snap.
Yeah, and you have to it's find Polly in the window. And so if you move it looks like if you move the camera over some guy that's shooting at you, you get shot. And if you move it over Polly, you get photos.
That's dope. That's dope. Darkman NES video game has a voyeur minigame.
I know. It's funny because you can see they make it look like he's standing behind a door or something. So there's a glass door in front of you. It's really weird.
So why do you think he became a peeping Tom? Well, I think it might all started with the Darkman video game.
Yeah. I just really liked looking at people from a distance without them knowing.
We should say, if you want to watch along, as Justin's mentioned, the Blu-ray's available from Shout Factory, but all three movies are currently, as of now, available on Showtime streaming if you have one of those subscriptions.
Yeah, so you can watch along. And how else can they follow along with us?
Yeah, email us your thoughts at sequelrights@gmail.com. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at sequelrights and facebook.com/sequelrights.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Hear your stories about Darkman, or if you collected any of the Darkman comics they made, or read the novels that they put out. We would love to know.
Yep.
Subscribe
and download on the iTunes store.
Rate and review us, and we'll see you next week for Darkman 2: The Return of Durant.